Have you ever heard about frozen shoulder? I have a story for you. So the other day I went to the doctor, like 2 months ago. I went to the doctor because my shoulder joints were pretty painful and I wanted to know what was the cause. And so I went in, I did an MRI, and they wanted to establish why I was in so much pain. Some of the movement that I would do with my hand were pretty painful. Just a simple thing as switching on the lights, trying to lift up my hand to reach for the switch was very uncomfortable and extremely painful. And so when I presented myself to the hospital, the doctor recommended that I see an orthopedic surgeon. And the orthopedic surgeon, contrary to what the other doctor had told me, the other doctor thought probably I hurt my shoulder doing exercises or carrying heavy stuff. But apparently it was confirmed that the shoulder pain I was feeling did not necessarily indicate that I had lifted anything heavy or I had hurt it in some way. Actually, the orthopedic surgeon said that this could have happened whether I did lift something heavy or I didn't. The only thing he failed to tell me is that as a woman in my perimenopause, there is something called a frozen shoulder. He did not take time to ask me if I was in the perimenopausal age, which I am. As a 44-year-old perimenopausal woman, there is something called frozen shoulder. And so what is a frozen shoulder? A frozen shoulder, it's a condition where there is inflammation in your shoulder joints. So it's an inflammatory condition in which fibrous tissues develop around the shoulder joints. And what do? They cause the shoulder joint to be stiff, to be extremely painful, and even it reduces mobility. And so I remember one of the things that the orthopedic surgeon did, he tried asking me to do some exercises, like to lift my hand, and he was checking for how mobile my arm was, my shoulder was, and he wrote some anti-inflammatory medications, but nobody talked about how hormonal changes, my hormones, as I am in my perimenopausal stage, would affect my shoulders. And so this is a learning experience that even our doctors out here, they lack to ask women. They lack, either it's that education or they just assume or ignore one or the other or both. Either they lack the knowledge or they just ignore to check with the female gender when they go to hospital, just to ask them more about their hormones, their health, because at times we will present situations that don't necessarily need surgery. We just need to be told that when you take your anti-inflammatory and the pain medications, this condition will end. And I did several physios. I went for several physiotherapy sessions. I think 12. And finally, even after I stopped, I just stopped because I decided, I was done. The pain hadn't gone away, but eventually it went. It left my body. And so now I know if that pain comes back, I know very well that I am suffering from a frozen shoulder and not that I need surgery. So if you're a lady out there and you have joint pains, just remember that you should check for frozen shoulder and you shouldn't panic. It happened to me. It can happen to anybody else out here. This is all about life. And today we have talked about a frozen shoulder. What have you experienced that the medics did not have a clue when you presented your symptoms to them? Kindly share. Like and leave a comment. Let us build a community that is empowered, that is inspired, and that is knowledgeable. All About Life by Doreen Guya. Kindly subscribe, leave a comment, share. and click that notification bell.